Hi everyone, my name is John Manning and I'm from a company called Secret Lab. We are a game dev studio based down here in Hobart, and we were recently part of, and I say recently, I mean exactly a year ago, at GovHack 2016, which I'll be talking a bit more about in a second. So we are a bunch of authors as well. We've written a bunch of books for O'Reilly Media, so mostly about video game development, programming for iPhones, programming for mobile phones, that kind of whole field. We also recently wrote a book about a very specific video game that I'm quite proud of. This is a game called Kerbal Space Program, which is a simulation of building and maintaining a space program, including building, designing, and flying rockets in a really realistic way, only they're all little green dudes like that, which is really fun. We've written games for the National Museum of Australia, so this is a game called The Museum Game, which was a fairly creative title. This is a board game in which you run around the museum floor in a very careful and safe manner, of course, taking photos of the exhibits and then linking them to other items by relevance. Meanwhile, other teams are doing the exact same thing, and it's a competition to find the most interesting links. We're also in the middle of doing some of our own games as well. This is a game called Gnome's World That Ends Well. It's about dropping a small gnome down a mine in search of treasure. And recently we helped out on a game called Night in the Woods, which was critically acclaimed and is basically about a young woman who moves back to her family home to find that all of her friends have moved on with their lives, and she hasn't, and also she is a cat. So, who here knows what a hackathon is? Just raise your hand. Couple of hands? All right, cool. So for those of you who don't know, a hackathon is a time-constrained competition for coding. The amount of competition tends to vary from event to event. So some of them are very, very focused on competition and that whole element of trying to get the most prizes. Some are more relaxed. So another term for these more relaxed types of competitions is a game jam or similar things. Now, as we know, constraint leads to creativity, and when you put a time constraint on programming, and these constraints tend to be between 24 to 48 hours in the general case, we get to some really, really creative outcomes. So we have people, I've seen people come up with 3D printers, and they've been building hardware on the spot, starting from nothing and generating that. So GovHack is a particular hackathon, happens every year all around Australia. It also takes place in New Zealand as well. And the idea behind GovHack is every submission in the competition, and GovHack is one of the more competitive ones, is required to be about government data. So whatever you build needs to make use of, ideally, more than one source of government data. And we've seen people do some amazing stuff, often with maps and other GIS stuff, but the way that we tend to do it, because we're a game dev studio, is we tend to make video games out of this. So, no, I already mentioned. So, it's a really, really fun and creative thing. We've had, so for example, with Michael Ferguson playing a video game that we made. We have people composing music live on stage, on set, in the room. We have artists drawing stuff from reference. So I'll talk about why we're drawing a picture of Leland Chin in a second. So the game that we made is called Beat the Press. Beat the Press is an action journalism game in which you are flying around on a rocket-powered news desk trying to collect images with your journalistic grabbing claw, which is mounted to the underside of your news desk, to match them with headlines. It is also not just news information, but also we collected a huge amount of information from various sources, which you'll see in a second. We scooped up huge amounts of data from the LINC archives. So we grabbed photos as well as metadata about them, including information about what they are about. We wrote programs that scraped colossal amounts of information from LINC, but also from news articles from ABC, from the CSIRO image databases and things like that. So by collecting photos like this and matching them with textual descriptions of what those photos are, we're able to give players a challenge. Given this photo, find the most appropriate link that's scrolling past in a news ticker at the bottom of the screen. So that's where I have a video to show you. So here's some video of the game being played. We have 3 players here, all fighting over photos. Meanwhile, news headlines are ticking over. So notice one player made a mistake there and dropped the wrong photo on the headline. Now, these are coming in from a web server that is hosted next to the computer. So the server is feeding both photos and also text to show inside that ticket here. And because players can collide with each other, it gets quite vigorous. So yeah, the game, for a game we made in about 36 hours with about 12 hours of polish time, it was really enjoyable. So we just got some footage of people playing our game, and people seem to really like it. So driving a game from this kind of data tends to work out really, really well with people engaging with data, with people engaging with the game itself, and people who care about one tend to encounter the other. So yeah, it's kind of great. So that was basically everything that I wanted to show you, and I'm more than happy to answer questions about what we built here. We really strongly feel that tying in gameplay to any kind of topic, especially government data, and especially things that people may consider quite dry, is an amazing way to engage people. We've known this for a long time, but we're trying to avoid the potential stigma of edutainment, because if you go in there saying, hey kids, these are video games, you're going to teach you, you're going to learn, then you go, okay, cool, because it's very hard to teach, it's very hard to make good gameplay, it's extremely hard to do both at the same time. So we focus on the gameplay and just hope to incidentally teach at the same time. You can find more information about GovHack at govhack.org.au. Our website is secretlab.com.au, and you can find us on Twitter at @thesecretlab. And also for more photos, this photo gallery, you may want to take a photo, I don't know, will give you more context. So hopefully that was entertaining and educational, like our game. Thanks.